You're beginning with importing a photo of your scene or photo of one of your studies, and then you're changing the background to a layer, and then beginning to work to select the separate parts on separate layers. It's important to separate all of the color elements. You can use your selection tool to select the color on the original photo and try to mimic it. You can play around with transparencies. The most important part really here is for you to be starting to isolate the parts of your image, what pieces go below which pieces on the layers dialog box, setting up folders for each of the groups of colors, each of the forms, because each form is made up of a whole bunch of different elements, right? There's a whole bunch of different things going on in each of these items, and they all sit in different places on the picture plane. So you have to set them up correspondingly on the layers palette so that that works together. So when there's an item that has a certain form, you can select the form and then break it down into where the tints and shades are built. You can do this a bunch of different ways. On that little spiral candle holder thing, that's what it is, but you can't see the candle. I've used the selection tool on the parts of the shade of the window and the curtain. I'll do it a different way, and I'll show you that as we move forward. And as you can see, I've been toggling back and forth from the original photo to the layers. Put everything in one folder called layers so that I could easily take the eye off and look at the original photo. But you could also use the preview information to create just a little image on the side that you keep referring to, so that if you want to be drawing a little bit more, you can do that. You can see that when I'm drawing just the curtain, I've selected the curtain layer so that I don't go beyond the curtain, and it gives me a little bit more freedom to work. If you have a tablet, a Wacom tablet or a Bamboo tablet, use that. It's really fun. You can use that. What I don't want you to do is I don't want you to use gradation tools. I want you to use flat color in the same way that we've been using flat color all semester. Sometimes when you're building form, you can mimic the structure according to the cylinder structure. This is a drawing skill, obviously, that you can mimic, but you can see if you zoom all the way in, you can see that tiny little reflection on the rim of any cylinder, any form, and that's really important to try to get that correct, because that's going to be a really great indicator of depth of field and of correct structure. So make sure that you pay real close attention to zoom in. If you have that photo, just zoom in, and also look at the place in your house that you're actually using as your still life, so that you can double check to see if your photo is actually accurate. It's important that your photo be accurate. If you're not working with an accurate photo, you're not going to get good results. So at some point I did add a white background to the bottom of the layers palette because I started to get confused with that checkerboard. And then I started to toggle back and forth between the preview and the image itself. And started to use drawing the pencil tool, the paintbrush tool, the transparencies, the opacity, the transparency, toggling back and forth between the opacity on the layers and the opacity on the tool so that I could vary my results, because I'm starting to observe the way light is actually affecting this image. All of these little subtleties, like all these crazy little things. I mean, I could probably just do this for the rest of the day, but I don't have the whole day. So do the best job you can on this and make it as wonderful as you possibly can. That's your goal. When you're using the selection tool, make sure you're not actually selecting the graphic, that you're just selecting the shape of the form so that you can duplicate that in the layer that you're building. Don't just take the image and plunk it into your drawing. That's not the goal here. The goal is to just use the shapes and to mimic those, and then to use the selection tool for the color just to help you find a semblance of what that area is made of, and then you have to assess the tints and shades. That's a little bit more refined of a job.